wisdom,
prudentia,
justice,
justitia,
temperance,
temperantia,
courage.
fortitudo.
Applying ancient philosophy to modern life, this is the Sunday Stoic.
Welcome to the Sunday Stoic Podcast. I'm Steve, coming to you from beautiful Howard, Ohio. This week, we are talking about friendship. Why would a Stoic even need friends? Well, it depends who you ask. You know, we have traditional Stoicism, modern Stoicism, and then sort of the twisted Broicism that we see, kind of toxic Stoicism that we see online quite a bit. And each of these schools may have slightly different views, but the Broic school, which is just sort of that twisted, I'm a man and I don't need friends kind of view of life, is the one that we might hear about the most, or what kind of the most vocal in certain circles online, at least. And I really want to address some of those views today more than anything. The idea is that, if you are a Stoic, then you are completely self-sufficient, you are all that is man, and you are perfect. Why else would you need to have companionship of any kind? But if we look at the actual Stoic school, we can see that they had this view of the perfect human, the sage. The sage is kind of a theoretical person who has perfect virtue. Remember, virtue is excellence. So they are an excellent human in all the ways that matter most. And from the Stoic perspective, that means they have really refined their use of reason, of justice, and temperance, and courage, and all the virtues. Right? Those are examples of human excellence, ways that humans can be excellent, and that sets them apart from perhaps other creatures on this planet. And a perfect sage does not need anyone, according to the ancient Stoics. They have everything they need to be happy. But that doesn't mean that they wouldn't prefer to have friends. For how could you be just if you have no one to interact with, whether they be a friend or a community member or what have you? So, a perfect sage, and none of us are anywhere near a perfect sage. We need friends, and sentence, right? Like full stop. We need them. We need community. We need people close to us. But even a theoretically perfect Stoic from, ancient Rome or ancient Greece would still prefer to have friends. And on that note, I'm joined this week by my friend, Lily. Lily is a musician, which is how I met her, and she's also a news director on some local radio stations, and I thought, hey, let's get a new voice to do a reading this week, and I'm very grateful that she joined us. So Lily is going to read to us this week from both the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius, as well as Moral Letters from Seneca, and then we'll come back and discuss what they had to say about Stoicism and friendship.
Men exist for the sake of one another. Teach them then, or bear with them. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations 8, section 59. What brings no benefit to the hive brings none to the bee. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations 6, section 54. The wise man, I say, self-sufficient though he be, nevertheless desires friends, if only for the purpose of practicing friendship, in order that his noble qualities may not lie dormant. Not, however, for the purpose mentioned by Epicurus, that there may be someone to sit by him when he is ill, to help him when he is in prison or in want, but that he may have someone by whose sick bed he himself may sit, someone a prisoner in hostile hands whom he himself may set free. He who regards himself only and enters upon friendships for this reason reckons wrongly. The end will be like the beginning. He has made friends with one who might assist him out of bondage. At the first rattle of the chain, such a friend will desert him. These are so-called fair-weather friendships. One who is chosen for the sake of utility will be satisfactory only so long as he is useful. Hence, prosperous men are blockaded by troops of friends. But those who have failed stand amid vast loneliness, their friendships fleeing from the very crisis which is to test their worth. Hence, also, we notice those many shameful cases of persons who, through fear, desert or betray. The beginning and the end cannot but harmonize. He who begins to be your friend because it pays will also cease because it pays. A man will be attracted by some reward offered in exchange for his friendship if he be attracted by aught in friendship other than the friendship itself. For what purpose then do I make man my friend? In order to have someone for whom I may die, whom I may follow into exile, against whose death I may stake my own life, and pay the pledge, too. The friendship which you portray is a bargain and not a friendship. It regards convenience only and looks to the results. Seneca, Moral Letters, number 9.
So men exist for the sake of one another. We've heard that from Marcus many times. If you've read the Meditations, he talks about how we are meant to work together like the upper and lower rows of teeth. You can't chew without them working together, right? And so he says, teach them or bear with them. So either help correct their behavior, let them see how reality actually works, or just say, okay, well, they're doing the best they can. I'll just work with what I've got here and move along. But don't walk away from them, dismiss them, or try to do it all on your own. It is your role to be a member of society. And that includes your friends, of course, right? Not just random people, but those close to you as well. And his other statement, what brings no benefit to the hive brings none to the bee. The idea that you can't, make one bee rich and have all the others starving to death, because then the hive dies. And if the hive dies, the rich bee dies too. So, rich is being just an example. But, if something is good for the whole hive, then it's also good for the bee. But if it's not good for the whole society, then it might on the surface look like the single bee is benefiting. But in the long run, no one is benefiting in that situation. And then Seneca. Seneca, of course, being the wordiest of the Stoics typically, has a lot to say. We won't go over everything he says here, but he says the wise man is self-sufficient. So the sage, the perfect, complete Stoic, let's say, is just completely happy in their own company. They know what to do. They see their place in the cosmos, etc. But they would prefer to have friends. Not in order so that friends can do things for them, but so that they can be there for their friends. It's a practice of virtue to help those around you. And you can't help those around you if you're completely isolated. Now, if fate should put you on an island in exile and you have no friends to help, that's beyond your power to do anything about. The sage is still okay. But if the sage is in society, the Stoic doesn't go hide on the mountaintop or in a cave. Not typically, anyway. Your typical sage will be involved in the community, helping, because that is the practice of justice, the practice of virtue. So once again, we're not having friends so that we have someone to sit beside us when we are sick. We have friends so that we can sit beside someone when they are sick. And if, as he says, friendships, the beginning and the endings of friendships will harmonize, which is, I think, a beautiful way to put it. If you start a friendship falsely, if it's based on possessions or trying to get ahead or get money, right, then it will end poorly as well. If you have someone who wants to be your friend simply for false reasons, they want to be your friend because of your money or your influence, then later on, if they're not going to get any money from you, or maybe you don't have any more money, they have no more use for you, and the friendship ends. It's not strong. It's a fair weather friendship, as he puts it. So what we need to do is to find more solid ground. A Stoic doesn't shy away from friendship. A Stoic embraces friendship. They embrace community in order to benefit the hive, to be a part of the whole. And you can't do that from a shallow, greedy perspective. You need to work on that. And we're all shallow and greedy to some extent, but we need to start recognizing those behaviors in ourselves. We can't change others that we see on TV or these influencers that make me want to gag when I hear them talk, right? They're just the shallowness of it all. We can be deeper people. We can try harder. We can refine ourselves. We can go out there and find friends and do our best. Now, not all friendships will work out. Once again, these are things beyond our power to control. But we can do our best so that we can be there to help others. Yes, we will benefit when they help us too. But from a perspective of virtue, we will become more refined, better people by participating, by helping, by expanding our circles of concern to those around us. And one day, when it's time to go, as Epictetus puts it, when the ship's captain calls us home and we have to get on board and sail away, we'll know that this time that we spent on shore was worthwhile and we did what we could. So don't shy away from those friendships. If you have a friendship that is dwindling and you haven't kept it alive, give them a call. Write them a letter. Remember, Seneca's always writing to his friend Lucilius, right? Write him a letter. Give them a call. Send them an email. Send them a text. Do something. Say, hey, haven't heard from you for a while. How's everything going? It's been a long time. Cultivate those friendships because they wither and die on the vine if we don't water them from time to time. All right, thanks everybody for listening. Get out there, seize the day, and put the stuff into practice. Carpe diem.
Thank you for listening to the Sunday Stoic. If you enjoyed the episode, have feedback, comments, or suggestions, send us an email to sundaystoic@gmail.com. Until next time, remember to put what you've learned into practice. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. Carpe diem.